Hey guys, Ricky Widmer here from Most Valuable Podcast, here to talk a little fantasy football with you guys. This video, my top 5 pickups in fantasy football for week number 2. And just a little disclaimer how these are going to go from now to the end of the season is I'm going to try to keep these guys as low ownage guys. Right now we have everyone in this video, less than 40% of teams on ESPN have these players on it. Going to try to stay below that 40, but I may dip up, but they will be 50 or less for sure. And let's get right into it. Number 5 on this list, I've got San Diego Charger tight end Ladarius Green, owned in 6.9% of ESPN leagues. And the reason why I got him here for this week is a lot of you guys may have Antonio Gates, and you may be saying, well, Ricky, I got to start a tight end in place of him because he's going to be out one more week. Green's that guy. If you did not handcuff Green to Gates going into the season, make sure and check if he's still there, because Green had double-digit points against the Lions in week number 1. I mean, yeah, I know that the Bengals played well in week 1, but they played the Oakland Raiders. So I feel like Green in the last week of Gates' absence could be a good pickup for someone needing a tight end, especially if your starting tight end were either Greg Olsen or Kyle Rudolph like I had. Yeah, I didn't have a good week for the tight end. This is a guy you can go ahead and pick up. Number 4 for this week, Tavon Austin. And you guys may be saying, well, Ricky, don't you mean Tavon Austin? No, I'm going to call him what the Rams call him in Tavon Austin. And the reason this guy's an obvious pickup, I would say, in this week, 4.9% of teams on ESPN have him. Not only did the Rams are a question mark for me at the wide receiver, but the one thing Tavon Austin brings to the table is his return skills. Obvious pickup for week number 2. Rams going up against the Redskins. The Redskins are a total cacophony altogether. They gave up a touchdown to Jarvis Landry in the punt return game last week. So I like the odds of Austin maybe getting 1 touchdown in the return game week 2 against the Redskins. Then number 3, the guy everyone has been talking about this Tuesday following the completion of the Monday night games, Stevie Johnson of the San Diego Chargers. I know, right? 2 Chargers making the list. This guy's a little bit higher end. 29.6% of ESPN teams own him. But if he is available, you might want to go and snag him because the Chargers look like, I mean, without Gates there, the Chargers to me are a crapshoot in the wide receiver because, yes, Green, like I mentioned, Green, he's sitting there at number 5. He's taking the place of Gates. But when Gates comes back, how is that going to affect Stevie Johnson? Stevie Johnson, a solid number 2 in this Charger wide receiver core. He's proven to be very useful for fantasy owners. So if he's available, go ahead and pick him up. Number 2, and this may be a surprise, but I have Austin Jenkins. He's owned in 24.6% of leagues. And I know you may be sitting there going, Ricky, you really have him as a better pickup this week than Stevie Johnson. And this one to me, this is the last 2, 1 and 2. These are more long-term solutions because I know the Buccaneers played horribly. Well, Jameis Winston played horribly. Let's get that correct. But the thing to think about with Tampa Bay is Winston obviously likes the young tight end out of Washington. So if he's going to be throwing it his way and Jenkins can get some double-digit points, he may be a good option for you to have. Like I said, maybe you have Kyle Rudolph, didn't perform well on Monday night. Maybe you have Greg Olsen, where if teams double team him, touchdowns are going to be going elsewhere in Carolina. Not everyone can have the Jason Wittens, the Jimmy Grahams, and the Rob Gronkowskis in fantasy football. Austin Jenkins could be a good pickup for you. And at number 1, he's owned, out of the 5 guys on this list, he's owned on most teams. 36.5% of ESPN teams own him. Marcus Mariota. If you have not placed a waiver claim on him, or if he's sitting here after waiver Wednesday and you still don't have him, go ahead and pick this guy up. He's great for anything, it looks like at this point. He could be your starter in fantasy football. He could be your backup. He could even be your third. If you have two quarterbacks, let's say you have Tony Romo and Eli Manning. I don't know why you'd have those two together, but let's say you have those two. You can still pick up Mariota. If he can produce half, not even half, 75% of as good as he looked last week, this guy is going to be a great fantasy option, the number one pickup for this week in fantasy football. Well, that's going to do it for this video, my top 5 pickups in fantasy football heading into week number 2. Make sure to check out the comment section down below. Tell me what pickups did I leave out? What guys did I maybe overlook this week in fantasy that you're high on? What guys on this list were you low on and say, Ricky, why is he even on this list? Let me know down below. You can go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Ricky Widmer. Most Valuable Podcast is at Most Valuable Pod. I want to thank you guys for checking out this video, and as always, have a good day, everybody. Hey guys, like the video? Then hit that subscribe button. But if you liked it even more, you should check out our Patreon page. We have a lot of different rewards and goals for those of you who would love to support us. So make sure to click that link down in the description to check out those pretty kick-ass rewards.